Uh-oh. Well, hello, everybody. We are here for a live Halloween special. You guys can talk. It's a party atmosphere.
No. Did you have a great ghost story?
Yeah, I was gonna look one up and I thought, man, no.
Well, I had experience at work.
Okay, you're gonna tell about it. You'll be on. I'm gonna take a break for a minute.
I gotta
You're
get
gonna
the comments on
you're
here.
gonna go on.
So just so everybody knows, this is going to be a very loose live show. It's a party atmosphere. It's like our Halloween party pretty much.
Why do I look so much closer than you?
Because you're sitting closer.
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
Back it up. Jesus Christ, we got a match. So, hey, if you're in here viewing, go ahead and say hi or something so we know who's in here watching. We're going to give it a couple minutes to let people in. You got to put your arm around me?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That felt kind of good. Can you scratch a little bit? Oh, thank you. That's so nice.
Beck, we share this on TOGHS.
It's like, I don't know if I want to.
I don't care.
Sue, how you doing? Nobody messed up the sink, I hope.
Hello.
Okay, it all works. Sue, can you hear
It's good.
everybody can hear good? Audio sounds good? Okay, because if so, I'm going to take these headphones off. I definitely can hear somebody playing it.
Delayed, but that's
Yeah.
because we're always delayed.
So whoever's watching it, turn the volume down if you would.
Beck, turn your volume down.
So people are going to say, what are we doing
Jeff,
here?
that's Becky's sister, Deanie.
How you doing?
Dana, that's Deanie, and John.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Happy Halloween.
Yep, same to you. So
So we're allowed to smoke on this show?
no. Don't do it, whatever you do.
I've never smoked on this show.
Huh?
I've never smoked on this
I'm a
show.
little less professional than you are.
I thought it was like, well, one thing we're not going to do is steal my lighter because in case I do smoke.
Joe Rogan smokes other things on his show.
All right. You want to smoke other things?
Probably shouldn't. It's not legal in Ohio.
We're in Michigan.
Oh, yeah. This is an Ohio broadcast.
Oh, it's broadcast through Ohio.
Hey, Butch, how you doing? Yeah, Butch, the campfire idea, that's what we originally wanted to do was we were just going
Beck,
to
can
kind
I
of
have those glasses?
sit around and do like campfire stories and stuff, but obviously with the rain,
Wow, you got a couple followers. Hey, Butch.
Butch is definitely watching. so-
Butch, what's going on? Butch, hey, how you feeling, buddy?
yeah, hopefully you're good.
Butch, as everybody knows from TOGHS, has some medical issues going on.
He's going to kick your ass for saying
No,
that.
yeah,
You know
Butch,
that.
yeah, Butch is kind of a private guy, but he's
He's a hockey player.
well, he's battling a blood infection right now after multiple things going on. He's waiting a gallbladder surgery that's going to take a couple of weeks. Butch, I hope you're doing well. Guys, if you're out there and you see Larry Leon, that's actually Butch.
Yep.
Wishing Butch a lot of prayers. And Butch, are you going to come out tomorrow morning at all for a presentation at the library? 11:30? Or are you
Are we
not going
expecting like 5 people at least to watch?
Butch is so.
Look crazy.
For how he's feeling.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I hope Butch gets better.
Yeah, no shit. He's a hard ass though, right?
Oh, yeah, Butch
He's
is
tough
old
as
school.
nails,
Yeah,
so-
Butch is a lot tougher than I
Whatever
ever
issues
was.
he's got going on, he's just going to beat him up with a hockey stick.
Butch says, where's the campfire? Yeah, Butch, it's pouring down rain here. I don't even have the Halloween lights on outside, the cemetery or anything lit up.
Does this make you feel better?
I was afraid we're gonna short circuit the house and burn the place to the ground. All right, what's going on?
Your garage is definitely taking a transformation today. When
Yeah.
I got here a little earlier. It was not. I wish I
can't
could
see
take
anything.
that camera and show it around. Maybe at the end of the night I'll take it and twist it around.
Yeah, do that, will you?
Yep, yep.
You actually really are smoking, aren't you?
No,
Well, I'm gonna smoke. I don't.
this is
give
a
a
fog
shit.
machine. Oops.
I'm shocked that you're smoking.
I smoke on my show all the time. What are
All
you
right,
talking
so what are
about?
we doing here tonight?
We're just gonna sit here and bullshit until
Well, we're gonna
Tell
have,
some
we're
ghost
gonna have
stories.
one viewer. We got
I
Paulette,
got 11.
Oh, do we,
that's
Sue?
Busha. Don't
Hi,
say
Sue.
shit about Busha.
Dana. Well, obviously Dana's sitting across the table from me.
We need everybody to.
Oh, but you have a game. Who you playing tomorrow?
Everyone's like talking on the cell phone.
I don't know what I'm doing.
It'll
Hey,
come
hang.
up with
I'm old school here. Hang on. Paulette, isn't that your mother? Paulette.
Busha,
Yes,
yeah.
that's Pusha.
Yep.
Hi, Paulette. How are you? Paulette, you looked wonderful last. What are you guys laughing about?
Because you're like talking on a cell phone. Like,
look at that.
hello, are you here with
Paulette,
me?
you looked wonderful last. Actually, Becky's here. I can't say you actually look.
We should probably
Really
tell.
hot.
We should probably tell a little story about Paulette last weekend.
I tell her.
Okay, I gotta call her Busha though, because like
Okay.
one year I drew her name for Christmas, and I'm looking at the paper. I'm like, who's this Paulette person?
Oh, you
Because
didn't
I
know
always
that?
called her
Yeah,
Busha,
you
so
know her
it was
name.
funny. I was like, I don't
What'd you
even know
get
who
for
this
Christmas?
is.
You tight ass.
What did I get? No, I got her everything on her list.
That big
Bubble bath.
No, it was a big year supply of crossword puzzles.
Yep, that's
and
what she wanted.
everything.
Does she do?
Word searches.
What's my mom? Beck? What's mom do? Sudoku.
Yeah, she
Sudoku.
didn't want the Sudoku, but she had like crossword
Yep.
puzzles and word searches and that. So it was like the year supply of it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
So let's tell a quick Busha story from the
Okay,
wedding last
all
week.
Okay.
Everybody notices Dana's got her name switched on here because she's officially a Schlochter now,
Woohoo!
which probably everybody watching
That's who
knows.
Dana is.
Yeah. Like, who is this chick? So anyway, last night, so early in the wedding, we ate pretty early after we got married.
Adrian.
And I look over and Busha's standing over there. She's yelling at her or at her grandson. She's like, I am drunk. And I'm like, I'm just taking my first bite of food. How are you drunk this early? It turns out she ended up like laying down in the back of her car because she got the wrong drink. Blake, I'm not gonna say tried to kill her, but he gave her the wrong drink and she drank drinks that were way stronger than she should have been drinking.
She's a wonderful lady.
She
She came up to me and said, "Listen, you don't have to apologize anymore for your foul mouth."
It's very
at the cookout there, the cookout that she had, because I felt Becky had said something to me on the way home. Boy, your mouth was really running, and I think they had a lot to do with doing shots or something.
Yeah, we definitely killed some Crown Royal.
Matter of fact, Beck, was someone poured Jeff and I John, are you gonna have a Halloween shot with us?
Sure.
We should probably.
Can we get another shot
one.
glass?
Yeah.
Unless you want to split mine with me, John. Deanie, are you gonna do a shot? Will you guys come over here just for a minute? Becky, can
My
I?
memory too. Yeah, you can. But my memory too of that night when you're talking about over at their house where you were worried about your foul mouth
Yeah.
was Uncle Jeff when you guys were going
Oh,
to leave.
Jesus.
Uncle
God,
Jeff
that
looks
was
at me and he
different.
goes,
Come
he goes,
around here.
and
Yeah,
he
You know,
laughed his ass off.
Come
I'm
over
like,
here a minute.
I don't know what that dude just
I
said.
want to
but that was
introduce
funny
everybody
stuff.
to Becky's sister, Deanie. Here, Becky or Deanie, can you come down? Come right here. John, come right here. This is kind of a goofball show. This
The
is
dog.
this is Denise. This is Becky's sister. She's about as hot as Becky is. And this is John. John, where are you, John?
I'm right here.
And this is John. Not your fiance yet, right? Just boyfriend, or what is he? What is he?
He's my boyfriend.
Boyfriend, not fiance, nothing. So I wanted everybody to say hi to Denise and hi to John. They're here tonight. We were gonna have a campfire tonight. It was canceled. Why do I keep looking into the camera?
I
Like,
don't know, dude. You're thinking
Jesus,
you're
that's
FaceTiming
weird.
your grandkids. Or
anyways, I wanted to introduce John. You're gonna do a shot with Jeff and I in a minute.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Then we're gonna get into some ghost
Right,
stories. 'Cause
I
I think
introduced-
that's why people are watching. We
Yeah.
definitely want to hear
Denise
some
is
ghost
going to
stories.
start us off with a great old ghost story.
What?
Will you give me 2 other glasses? Anyways, you guys can they stand back here a minute or no?
I don't care.
Okay, we're gonna. Can Becky and Dana get into or no?
Yes.
And then can I get out?
No.
Oh no.
No.
We're sitting there, but we gotta start doing some ghost stories.
Okay, Dana says we got to start a ghost story. So let me hang on. I need 2 more shot glasses. No, 2 more. Jeff and I. This is John and Denise, and I need 1, and Jeff needs 1. Listen, we're gonna get serious here in a
Yeah,
minute.
we're gonna
okay?
do a happy hauntings
Probably
real quick, and then we'll start
We're
talking
gonna get
about.
serious.
We got to hear about it.
Jim Beam?
I think the first thing we're gonna do is talk about. There's that one case. Can I mention the street?
I don't know. Can you?
Starts with a D.
Door Street?
Yeah.
Oh, did I mention it? No, can we go further back than that?
Yeah.
I want to tell everybody, and this is like really unprofessional. I would be very professional if Jeff Schlochter wasn't involved.
Right, because I ruined it with my smoking already.
I'm gonna smoke too then. That's on it. Anyways,
Them are big shots.
You know-
God dang.
I always get asked why I'm a ghost hunter,
Why are you?
and I'm really not a ghost hunter. I'm a paranormal investigator.
You started, like, in all seriousness, though, you started out as a paranormal investigator,
Yes.
and now you're a ghost hunter.
Here.
I mean, you're
We're
both.
gonna do a
but you're-
shot on Facebook Live, and then we're gonna get
We
right
gotta
down to
get
serious
lower
business.
again.
Right, you gotta get lower again.
So happy hauntings, everybody.
Happy huntings, everybody. Happy Halloween. The veil is thinning. Do not try this at home. The
Professionals.
communication between us and them is much greater now.
Yeah, especially 4 shots deep.
All right, thanks for joining me, guys. All right, down to business.
Mm-hmm.
This show's gonna last 3.5 minutes, John. We'll be out of here. Anyways, one of the questions I get
Thank
asked.
you.
Yeah.
You're welcome, John. All the time is here, John. You want to take that with you? Do another one? You and Deanie? Jeff and I already killed the whole bottle. You and Deanie might as well finish
Go ahead
killing
and
it.
keep talking. I got to get a
Get
cook.
our own bottle.
Wait a minute, I'm all alone.
Oh, you're fine. I'm right here.
What the hell? Guys, I don't know how this started.
So you're talking
Jeff?
about.
Should I tell a story about you and Mintz? Absolutely, Paulette. While Jeff's gone,
God
tell
damn
it
No.
quickly. Paulette, tell it quickly.
No.
Tell it quickly. Oh my God.
This is rated R, not rated X.
Yes, I want to hear it. Anyways, listen. I'm 61, about to be 62.
Hey, can I say one thing
Yeah.
real quick first? Okay, just so I just want everybody to know because we're gonna have a big guest on next week. Chris
Oh,
McKinnell.
and a little guest this week.
Yes, very little guest
Okay.
this week. But Chris McKinnell from he's Ed and Lorraine Warren's grandson
Yeah, that's awesome.
is going to be on our show. And if they were to happen to stumble upon this broadcast tonight, I just have to say we are celebrating Halloween tonight as a
Yes, this is
we are
this
serious
is a
for real.
farce.
Yes, we do serious paranormal stuff. I mean, but tonight we're just having fun and we're telling ghost
Absolutely.
stories, which I think is part of being a ghost hunter. So
You know what I think is amazing? All kidding aside, while we're screwing around here tonight, because this show is definitely a screw off show. Nobody's being serious. But I want to say something about Ed and Lorraine Warren. As I said earlier, I'm 61 years old. From a very young age, my interest in the paranormal was peaking at about 12, reached its height at about 15. And I heard of Ed and Lorraine Warren probably by 15 years old. And I have the utmost respect for him. Ed was a demonologist, the closest thing to an exorcist that I could think of. And Lorraine Warren was a psychic medium and very good. And some of their most famous cases, I mean, they've had hundreds of cases, but some that you guys may have heard of is The Conjuring,
The Conjurings,
the Amityville Horror,
The Nun,
The Nun. There's
Annabelle
so many,
series. I mean, yeah.
They have the Annabelle doll in their museum, which is now being run by their nephew.
Yep.
What started
Is it nephew or stepson or son-in-law?
It may be son-in-law.
Because I think he was married.
I may be wrong. I may be very wrong.
He was married to their daughter.
But either way, and you know what's really amazing? The last couple of years, we now hear Ed and Lorraine Warren's daughter coming out and making public, is speaking publicly, which is really amazing to me. I have so much respect for Ed and Lorraine Warren. They were the very first paranormal investigators or ghost hunters that most of us guys looked up to.
Yep.
Just amazing people. They're both passed away now. Lorraine passed away
It was
within the
last
last
year,
2
wasn't it? Yeah.
within the last 2 years.
But you know the funny thing is though too, like I said about you a few minutes ago, is that you started out as you never would have done Facebook or YouTube shit or anything like that back in the day.
Well, there was,
But
Facebook
now you do.
back in-
No, but I'm saying, but now you do, and they started out the same way. I mean, their work was very serious.
very serious
However,
work.
there's nothing wrong with telling your stories, even if Hollywood twists it and whatever. There's nothing wrong with selling your
Well, you know,
stories to,
Becky
for
and
other
I,
people to enjoy.
Becky and I sat down the other night, a couple nights ago. We watched The Conjuring again.
Yeah,
And I've been looking everywhere all over the TV for the Amityville Horror. I can't find it.
it's on HBO.
Some of those cases were, I mean, let's face it. The Conjuring was I think the Perrot family or Perot family, whatever way you want to say it, a Canadian family. They had 5 girls. Listen, that case was real.
Yep.
I mean, that's not funny. That's not you and I going to Mansfield Reformatory, going to cell block 375, talking to John, and John slamming the door, and
Right.
you and I going out for a steak and a beer and had a successful night. That's some scary stuff that was going on there. They had some daughters that were being, just picked on. They were terrified. And then,
Was it which?
but that was one case where Ed couldn't get the priest in time.
Right.
And that part of the story is true.
Yeah.
Ed had to perform the exorcism himself. Could you imagine being on an investigation with together, and you and I have to perform an exorcism because we can't get the priest in and all hell's breaking loose? It's not possible. I mean, Ed was probably 20 years ahead of his time, and Lorraine was probably every bit of 20 years ahead of her time.
But see, I don't want to dog on Catholics or anything like that. But like back in the day,
No, wait a minute, Jeff.
No,
The
listen.
Catholic Church backed that.
Right, but I'm saying, but back in the day, the
Now you got
disciples,
me smoking.
the disciples cast demons out.
Oh,
They didn't do a rite of exorcism.
Right.
So
I get it.
you're not doing anything as an exorcist. You're calling on God
Right.
to do it.
I
So I
get
mean,
you.
it's the power of God that does it.
I
It's
get
not.
you.
But anyway,
Well,
so
we shouldn't be taking credit for these things ourselves,
Oh, no.
anyways.
anybody that does
Everything's done in the name of Jesus.
it, if you take credit for it, you're not going to be able to
right,
perform the
right.
exorcism.
You will be a failure.
Right. You're going to get smoked by a demon. Is what's going to happen.
Right.
What's up, Einstein?
Well, and a lot of people said, the Amityville horror was beefed up, and a lot of it was falsified, and maybe it is. It's like we were on Paranormal Survivor a couple years ago, and look what they
The
did.
whole story
Look
was-
at. I mean, the basis of the story of the Maxwell hunting was real.
Mhm.
I mean, the story of Molly being picked on was real. Ian, who was a great friend of mine, and
Yep.
I mean, the basis of the story was real. They blew it out of proportion on how. I mean, they had me down as an exorcist. They had Becky down as I'm not sure.
I
what Becky
laugh
was,
every time I watch that show. when it's on.
but the base of the story was real. So when you watch the Amityville horror, when you watch The Conjuring,
Mhm.
those are some of the same things. But the grassroots, the base of the story is true. And anyways, Ed and Lorraine Warren, we have a lot of respect for.
So, like, okay, let's talk. So, a lot of people on here maybe don't know the Maxwell story. I mean, like, maybe we can briefly talk about that for a couple minutes. It's like our first ghost story because this is real. This really happened. Okay, so briefly tell me how it started, and then I'll get into like when you and I got
Well,
involved. with it
just
together.
in case Ian or Molly are watching, all due respect to you, Ian. All due respect to you, Molly. And all due respect to Nick and Nikki, the people that they're with now. This story came about in 2012. I think it was in the fall of 2012. And let me first say, Ian is a very large man. He's a big man, highly intelligent, very sensitive. This guy was more passionate about brewing beer.
Yep.
And give me a minute. This is of course like, but
It's a
he would
Labatt's Light,
or Labatt's. He would brew beer,
and he dribbled it all over himself.
swish it around his mouth, and he would tell
Yeah.
a 90-second
Uh-huh.
story about that drink.
Yep.
This guy,
He tell you what's
listen,
in it, how it's made.
Ian and I to this day, Ian is no longer a friend of mine. Ian is no longer a buddy.
Right.
Ian is family.
Mhm.
Ian is a brother of mine, and he will be for the rest of my life.
And that's the thing too with like paranormal investigation. Like I know from when you guys take on a case, you're in it for the long haul. And like you said, that was 2012.
Well, rather than
This is 9 years
right,
down the
rather
road.
than
You're
bounce all
still,
over, rather than bounce all over the place
Yep.
tonight, because we're drinking and we're smoking and we're being really unprofessional.
that's
Let's take it from the beginning.
Mhm.
I became a paranormal investigator because I grew up in what I believed was a haunted house. Second oldest, second biggest house on the east side. That's where Henry came from, the
Yep.
Shadow Man.
Yep.
It is what it is. A lot of stories come out of there.
Yeah.
But what I knew, and I knew in my heart, what I was witnessing was real. And I knew that other people had to be experiencing things like this.
Yep.
When I got to be about 15 or 16, that's why I decided I was going to reach out and try to help these people.
Well, your whole family has stories from that house.
Everybody that's ever
Yep.
lived there has
Yep.
got a story, including my grandmother, my aunt, and so on and so forth. So the years go on as I consider myself a paranormal investigator first, although the last few years I've enjoyed ghost hunting.
There's
And we
nothing
all
wrong
know
with
the
that.
difference. Anybody takes a class on the ones knows the difference between
Yep.
ghost hunting and paranormal. There's about 200 hours would be the difference. And what would be, well, they're both serious, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
Anyways, in the fall of 2012, I took on this Maxwell. I got a nice call from Ian and Molly, a wonderful couple. Molly is, I seen her grow her milkweed plants,
Mhm.
and she attracted the monarchs to the whole metaphor. What's the word I'm looking for? Metamorphosis. From caterpillar to butterfly. She was so passionate about her flower garden. Breeding horses, training horses. She was involved
Which
with
according
horses.
to the TV documentary about the Ian and Molly, they lived on quite the big farm.
Well, and they did. They lived in a 5 Points area. But the thing I'm trying to say is, there's no way you can't love Ian and Molly. You know, I fell in love with them immediately. Such passionate people. Well, the claims of Molly being held down in bed, choked in bed, being attacked in bed. One point, she was choked so bad that they woke up in the middle of the night, and I believe Ian took her to the hospital, and she had choke marks around her.
Yeah.
Waking up into a 10-year-old boy or around a 10-year-old boy, and I always said an Asian boy, but that's not necessary.
Well, she would. You said too. She would even like when she got home from work, she would sit outside of her house until like 2 minutes before Ian got home
Yeah,
because she was afraid to go in the house. That house was that bad. Like,
she was petrified to be in the house alone. But wouldn't anybody? I would be petrified to be in the house alone. But we'll get to that later. I guess this has turned into one of our ghost stories. We took on this case, I think in the fall of 2012. It's still going on to this day.
Yep.
Claims of Molly being attacked in the shower, held down in bed, shoved down the stairs, the walls oozing this weird, strange liquid coming out of, and unbelievable claims. And you know, just talking to them, I knew that it was real in their hearts.
Yeah.
I knew what they were saying was real. And so we took on this investigation. There turns out to be a bully in the house, and I can I say his name or better not? Let's just call him Jason.
Jason.
We'll
Yeah.
just call him Jason. There was a bully in the house by the name of Jason. This guy had a criminal record a mile long. I think Jeff left me. He maybe went to do another shot at it. But since I stole my lighter, no, Becky stole it. Anyways, he had a criminal record a mile long.
Yeah.
Crimes against women. He had restraining orders against him. Anti-stalking
from family members.
from even his stepmother,
Yep.
apparently.
And
And I assumed it was him.
Well, I think you got some evidence that said it was him, didn't you?
Yeah, we went in, did it. We went into the house. We did a walkthrough. We did a long interview, and we decided to take on the case. And we did our first investigation, squirrely to say the least. The house had a strange vibe from the minute we were in there. Butch did baseline readings and blah blah blah. I don't want to make a
You
long
guys
story.
described it as green,
It had an eerie
like
green.
a green haze. Or
It had
something,
an
like,
eerie green tint to this house. I know it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
I mean, still to this day, some things I can't explain.
Yep.
The walls were oozing this strange liquid, which I still to this day don't know what it was. But all the claims of the paranormal that they were claiming turned out to be true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we targeted kind of this Jason guy.
Yep.
He had an extensive criminal record, committed suicide in the basement.
Mhm.
I'm not saying anything that wasn't on the show Paranormal
Right.
Survivor, so I'm not letting any cats
Well,
out
and
of
you've
the
done
bag.
live shows and stuff
Yeah,
too, where Ian
yeah.
himself has talked
Right.
about all
So-
of this. So
Got to be careful talking about these things.
Yep.
Anyways, we walked away with some documented evidence that night.
Yep.
It's been since 2012, and over the course of all these years, obviously it's 2021.
Yep.
I'm still in contact with Ian bi-weekly. The case still continues and will for the rest of our lives.
let's shorten it a little bit because there's other stories I want to talk about too. So you guys have ended up evicting Jason.
Yep, Michelle
Yep,
Mannix
got rid of Jason.
did an eviction, which wasn't so easy. The day of the eviction, Molly went down. She was kicked. She was bruised on her leg.
Yep.
We thought we were going to have to call an ambulance. which is scary in itself. How do you call 911 and say,
Yeah.
we have a person down in the yard?
Yep.
I'm a ghost hunter, and she was just attacked by an unseen entity.
Yeah, and the cops.
That's kind of
sure it was unseen.
That's squirrely, to say the least. Becky and Michelle were there. We captured some pretty negative EVPs that day.
Yep.
One being, which basically said "F you, Harold,"
Yep.
or "I'm coming to get you." And so much so that I believe that I waited for a few weeks for him to arrive at my house.
Yeah.
I thought he was coming.
Did that one spook you? Like, be honest. When you get a
Well,
message like that like it's directed, I'm coming to fucking get you, Harold. Let's just be frank in what it said. Does that stuff spook you?
Under normal circumstances, I would say yes, but I was so in tune with Ian and Molly at the time, and so I followed Becky around because, I mean, obviously Becky and I lived together.
Yep.
I was worried about her. Michelle, I was very concerned about her. I don't think it scared me at that time because I was so worried. I mean,
But see,
I was in a protection mode. Does
I've
that make
always
sense?
I've always wanted to ask you this question.
And I had a hard on for this Jason the whole time.
Yep.
You
Let me
gotta
ask you
remember
this then. So, Becky's in the shower doing an EVP session. There's another graphic EVP that was captured then. It said, "Why are you fucking him?"
Boy, you are really. We're smoking,
I know.
drinking, you're cussing.
Let me ask you
Jesus
this.
God.
Did you ever think, coupled with the other EVP, that was directed to you as well?
Well, I learned right off the bat.
What do
the
you
very,
think, Becky?
The very first. Hang on. I want you to take my seat a minute. Come in.
No,
sit
she can
between-
take my
Yeah,
seat.
no, here.
No,
Come,
I don't want to take
no,
your
come
Okay.
sit between us. Becky's gonna walk in.
So,
And she was there.
so
What
that's
I would-
the
let me
timeline. So
let
we
me
get
let me
this
go. Let me
EVP.
let me go backwards a little bit. Butch and I decided that night that Molly was being mostly attacked, and these things it started rearing its ugly head mostly when Ian was gone. Let me remind
And that's
you,
why
Ian,
you thought it was
Ian is
Jason.
a great big man. Ian
Yeah.
is a big man, and Ian's got a pretty strong presence. Although he was experiencing it too,
Dana,
this
Can you
thing
hand me a chair?
seemed to attack Molly when Ian wasn't home. So Butch and I, being geniuses, as obviously everybody who follows TOGHS knows that we're geniuses, thought that maybe
Becky.
putting Becky in the house alone. Let's get
Oh,
Becky
thanks,
comfortable.
John.
We're getting her a chair.
Yeah, well,
Go
I'm
ahead,
gonna hold
go
on.
ahead.
Well, we thought that maybe recreation. Everybody's sort of
Right.
recreating that scenario.
Because Molly
So-
was getting
right.
messed with.
So we thought that putting Becky in the house alone would be a recreation, and maybe this entity, Jason, would go after Becky the same way it would go after Molly.
Because he was a bully.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That being
Yeah,
said,
because he didn't
against
pick on
women.
men like
Right.
he picked on
right.
women.
Yep.
So that being said, we had did a session earlier. Joey, my nephew Joey, who's no offense, Joey, but I think you're probably at the time was 275. Everybody knows. Well, I'm kind of skinny. I'm thin. I'm pretty sexy.
I think you packed.
But
on a
I
couple
but I
pounds
probably
since then.
I probably weighed 240 at the time. We had already laid on the bed trying to get this
Yeah.
Jason. We're going to call him Jason, not the real name. This Jason trying to choke us, to hold us down in bed.
Mhm.
Nothing worked. So you got a lot of smoke going through the screen.
It's a fog machine.
Yeah. So, anyways, later in the night, we said Becky in the house alone. She was to do the bedroom first, lay in the bed, double dog dare this Jason to choke her. Then, even scaring that, she was going to go to the shower to do a shower scene where Molly had been attacked in the shower several times
Yep.
previously. Becky, it's coming from your mouth is better than me.
First, I wasn't like in the shower taking a shower. Or
No, no,
anything.
it was simulated.
I was in the shower with the
recreation.
water running in the sink to try to get the mood going, and inviting Jason to basically push me down in the shower.
And,
Which
and
is
you're in there
stupid
the
when
whole
you think
the
about
whole
it.
time though, watching the video. You're in there. You're in your paranormal investigator mode. You're like, well, you know, this is sloped a little more than it should.
Yeah,
be.
I know.
I mean,
I'm
you were
always
going through all this
debunking.
stuff. but-
Well,
Right.
the thing
Because
was, Beck,
it would have been so easy to
the
slip.
thing
in
that
shower.
bothered me most watching you from tech was you was calling this Jason on. You was daring him to
Yeah.
push you in the shower. You was daring him to show himself. Just the same way you were in the bed. You were daring him
Well,
to
you
come
know
in and
what?
choke you.
You said you
But-
had a hard on for him. I kind of did
Yeah.
too.
'Cause
No,
he
You know
was
what I mean?
nasty to
I,
women.
I,
But I
seriously,
think what everybody
yeah.
wants to hear is what would the first session you did was from the bedroom, Molly's bedroom,
I
where
wasn't
Molly
provoking though.
no
Just
where
inviting
Molly
him to
where
push
Molly
me.
saw the young entity, where Molly was being held down in bed. That was the first session you did. What happened in the first 7 seconds of that
The
session?
bed broke,
Okay, was that
and I
part?
was laying there not even moving it. It just
Right.
went,
It just went boop.
Well, here's the thing from
Drop.
tech,
Mhm.
as Butch and I are out there, Is that paranormal? I don't know. But I know Joey was on the bed. I know I was on the bed. I know Michelle was on the bed. And that bed never moved.
Yeah.
Becky, who weighs $130 maybe every, on her heavy day, that bed collapsed within 7 minutes. Is it paranormal? I don't know. So the genius that Butch and I are, I mean, what do we do next? Let's send her to the shower. Now, she wasn't in the house totally alone.
No,
Not
Butch was in there
crazy.
filming
Butch was with
Yep.
her as a silent
He was
filming.
filming.
So you guys moved to the bathroom. So you're now in the shower. Tell us about your session.
Well, as usual, I didn't really think I was getting any response. And I also did the office before I went in there, and we got
a child giggling. That would be the child that was seen at the end of the bed earlier in the night.
Right. So I was just kind of calling him out a little bit, but not really provoking.
No, keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
You're out of
going.
the camera.
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, yeah.
You're cut out of the camera.
Well, I'm trying to get
Go
back
I
to some
wasn't paying
stage
attention.
space. No, but go
I
ahead,
got
Becky.
plenty of space.
Look at how much space I have.
Scrawny.
I have a lot of space.
Yeah.
I need a lot of space.
Okay, stop. I totally lost my train of thought.
You're in the shower
I'm in the shower.
with
and
Jason.
I didn't think, honestly, so many times I leave a place, I'm like, psh, we didn't get anything. I don't feel things. I don't like, ooh, you know what I mean? I was laying in bed listening to the recording because sometimes
Yeah.
you can do it. You do it when you can do it.
Well,
you
to
know
be
what I
honest,
mean?
How many
It was
times
late
do I
at
wake you
night.
up?
Yeah,
That's two
you got to scoot in.
EVPs
You got to scoot in.
that were really good
I'm
that I
scooting out.
caught that I watched by myself in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I listened to them in the middle of the night.
Yep.
And it was like, what? And then you can't stop replaying it. Then you're like, start freaking yourself
Yeah.
out. You're like, ugh. Especially the one on Maxwell where they said my name. That was a little disturbing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wake up. You need to wake up
So-
right now.
So your thoughts, I want to know what you think about that. So coupled with him saying, I'm coming to get you next, to Harold.
Well,
And then
this
with
was
why are you
before.
fucking him? Was he
This was
talking
before
to
he
you?
was coming to get Harold.
That's
This
what I'm
was in
saying.
Our
Was
initial investigation. We've been there a lot of times.
I've had a thought. Was it Jason or was it something else? And both EVPs can be tied together if you think about
Well,
it.
at the time,
Why are you
At the
fucking
time,
him?
we thought it was
And
Jason,
then later on,
and
it's going
jealous
after
was,
him.
and Jason was just jealous.
Right.
because it was going after him because he was leading the charge with the eviction.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
So yeah, it was going to go after him. I'm going to come get you. Ooh,
Yep.
Scary. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
shut up.
I wasn't afraid.
No,
I'm
really,
brave.
we
I'm
weren't.
always
You
brave.
know,
I'm always
No
brave.
bullshit.
Harold
Seriously.
was afraid when he did the
No, I
72-hour
was not.
lockdown.
That-
He
Well,
started
I-
whacking
see,
out.
Rewind this. That didn't. That
Here's the
wasn't
thing,
said.
though. I mean, I do know that you do have a fear
I do.
when you investigate.
I do.
You've told it to me. I'm not going to out
That he's
you.
gonna
And
get
you
shoved
want
out
and
a
you want to
second
share
story
with
window.
everybody.
Yeah.
The Halloween is
Becky
going to be
said
the
it.
I
time.
already know.
What?
Bet you're gonna get shoved out a second story window.
Well, that's because I was told that.
I know.
Anyways,
Somebody planted it in
let's
your head.
carry on. So that night you captured an EVP, a Class A EVP, that said, and I'm not going to cuss on this because I'm not nearly as unprofessional. Okay, she's unprofessional. Jeff and Becky are
That
both.
sounded like that little
I'm
kid
trying
from
to keep
The
my
Shining.
professionalism.
Except he
to me.
didn't sound like that.
That's
That's right. I didn't.
That
think it
sounds like
that.
one of those Oompa
Shining
Loompas
kid.
from.
No, it
Charlie-
sounded like the Shining Kid.
Yeah,
it was-
Red Rob,
It
Red
was,
Rob.
it was a lot deeper and scarier
Yeah.
So,
No, it is. It's a.
and
It's a
slower.
so here's the bottom line, guys.
yep. Bottom line
Everything that Ian and Molly had been saying
is true
is true, and
and
Listen,
documented.
but listen to me, and not only documented, we that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, because listen, 90% of everything can be recreated or debunked. 90% of everything has a very normal explanation for.
Right.
This is something that happened in with two very well liked and very respected people, and I got my own crew going in there. How do you think I felt after the fact of throwing Becky into being in the position that Molly had been in
Yeah.
every
Well-
night previously
Yep.
while Ian was gone,
Yep.
even when Ian was there, and now she's instantly
Did
attacked.
you notice he didn't push me in the shower? That's because he wasn't
Maybe he
afraid of him
couldn't-
pushing
yeah.
me in the shower.
You know, I
Becky
know.
is definitely
So
like
I'm
Butch,
not going to
like,
run
she's
and
got-
cry and hide and
she's
not come
tough.
in my house.
Becky's
So-
not. You're not scared easy.
He's not.
No.
He's just going to make
No.
some little nasty comment as he walks away, basically.
Yep.
Okay, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
If you guys can smoke and drink and cuss on your video, I'm going to get cards and we're playing euchre.
Go ahead.
Okay, well, you already said
Object
you
to
already no, you already said the F word.
I know. Oops. Sorry.
There you
Okay,
go.
so anyway, we've talked about Maxwell a lot. It's already 8:37. I want to talk about something else.
8:30. Okay, hang on, I'm not done yet.
Well,
So
shorten
give
it
me,
up.
go
Tell
ahead,
the
give me
short
5
version.
minutes. So, no, because you're gonna talk. Anyways, this investigation went on for years. The house would go quiet. I still to this day believe. Is anybody saying anything besides? Hey, Dan's there. What's Dan saying, Dana?
He wants you to tell a
That's
different ghost story.
story.
Relax, Dan. Lieutenant Dan, relax. Anyways, listen.
Harold and Uncle Jet. Wait a minute.
Wait, Dan, but you got Dan. You had a personal experience at Maxwell as well. You were shoved down the stairs.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did on the
He
stairs.
bumped the wall.
Oh,
Upon further analysis, Dan did not get his headphones
Right.
knocked off his head. He bumped the wall
Right.
when he was about this far away.
Right.
But he bumped the wall.
So
and they
listen,
came off.
let's spend 2 more minutes on the Maxwell.
I know I'm trying.
And then we're gonna what? When she
We're losing people.
okay. Listen, here's the bottom line. We get locked ourselves in the house for 72 hours. Why don't you share 30 seconds with us, and then we'll switch gears?
Okay,
Because you were scrying up in the attic.
same house. Yep, I was scrying
Listen,
in the attic.
this story is very serious. We made amends with. Go ahead, you
Yeah,
talk.
no. So I did a scrying session there, which that's an experimental method for paranormal study, research, whatever, ghost hunting. And it was a weird session. Like you're like FaceTiming your grandkids again.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm looking in this mirror, and this is what I see. It doesn't. I don't think it relates to the house or anything like that. I don't know why this happened, but I kept seeing flashes of animal faces, but it wasn't like a dog face and then a cat face. It was a dog and cat meshed.
Yeah.
It was like it was weird. Like this happened over and over
But
and
this
over.
is during the scrying session.
Yes. So I'm
Make
up there.
sure
I'm
everybody's
in
aware of
the
it.
attic that I was afraid to go into the night before.
Right.
I was like, there was a few times at that house where I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that tonight. And there was the night before I was not going up in the attic. We could sit here. We could do a whole 2-hour show on Maxwell. So I'm going to try and make this short. So we did scrying up in the attic. All these images are coming, flashing at me. And I'm, we were sleep deprived too, because that was the second night or third night, whatever. But then the last image was my son in the mirror. And then Nick went like that and he's like, it's over.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. But it was Robert's
But
face.
that had great meaning to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that was bigger than what people
Yeah.
think. That was the paranormal world colliding.
There's a lot to be said about those old types of investigation, like scrying and things like. I look like Sid Barrett.
You look
I
like
probably
Sid
did.
Barrett.
I was wrapped up in a blankie and had, somebody forgot to turn their camera on. It was pointing at the mirror, so maybe we could have caught.
That wasn't
but we
me.
didn't. Yeah, we don't know who that
I
was.
was the
Let's
professional.
blame Nick.
Yeah, it was Nick.
Okay, so that's but you were legit scared at the Maxwell house.
I had spent 72 hours in there as well.
Yep.
And there was one afternoon, broad daylight, where I come to a reckoning with the house.
Mhm.
And I was tired of the noises. I was overexhausted. And I had finally forgiven Jason because I had learned later that Jason was just one of the many players in the haunting
Yep.
that was being controlled by what I call a gatekeeper.
Yep.
And mental illness is nothing to laugh about.
And that's kind of where I went with it too, was like, I did come towards the end of that too. Like, you know what? Maybe we need to consider your mental state. Now, I don't support bullies or people that beat women or anything like that. And there's no excuse for that. But like, he obviously had problems, and
Yeah,
maybe
he
it wasn't
issues.
his fault.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
I mean, all drinking and horse around side,
that was a serious,
it's a very serious case.
people legit. This is not for,
It still goes on.
I'm not trying to amplify this, but people could have died had you guys not gotten involved in that.
Absolutely. There was one night, Jeff, when I left that house, I turned around to Becky on the way home and I said, listen,
Right.
we got to help these people. We got to call other people in. This is way above us. One of these people are not going to be alive when we show back up here within the next
Because
week.
they were
And I was very serious about that.
they were talking about killing themselves as well as killing each
Well,
other.
they're having visions
Yeah.
and nightmares.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly. Like dreams. I'm not saying they were talking like, here,
Right.
Harold, I'm
So
gonna kill
we'll move. Listen,
Yep.
the house is being monitored this day. Ian plays a big role in it. Some unfortunate things have happened in the last couple of years. Ian and Molly are both doing really well.
What's that?
The house still stands. It's being energized all by itself, and we'll leave it at that.
Einstein wants
Okay,
to
so
see
Dana's
the
kind of watching over. Should we tell a funny story or another scary
Answer
story?
Dan's.
What's Dan
time.
saying?
Dan says something about you and Uncle Jeff getting approached in your car.
Oh, this so many years ago.
Mhm.
Listen, I'll spend 2 minutes on this one, then we'll go to a different story. I was down in Athens for orientation week for my oldest son Nick, who is I don't know 39. Let's see, so some years ago was down at OU, and everybody knows OU was Athens, Ohio was the 8th most haunted place in the United States back then, and I was fortunate enough to be down there same time that Scariest Places on Earth were being filmed with Linda Blair from The Exorcist. So I got to meet her, and I met this guy. His name was I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah, don't.
But he let me into the asylum, the TB ward, Wilson's Hall. I got to tour everything. I actually investigated them, and after a night in the asylum, I got up really early in the morning, and Uncle Jeff and I were riding back up the ridges. As everybody knows, there's 17 buildings. I think 17 up there on the top of the ridges. One being the TB ward, the asylum, which is now the Kennedy Arts Center. Very, very haunted. And we were approached by a couple, an older couple, at 5:30 in the morning on Dairy Barn Road, which is only one road in and one road out. And what Dan is saying is they asked if I was in the cemetery, if I was in the asylum, and they were gray. Jeff kept telling me to get the hell out of there. I kept going on the conversation. At one point, I got out of my van to talk to him because I was becoming uncomfortable. And it turns out that
They weren't people.
no, they were they were ghosts from the cemetery. And it's an unbelievable story, but I still believe, and that's that was actually going to be the headliner in the book that we were writing. But that was one of the amazing stories, and to this day, I believe, because when we had left to go, I just pulled the truck or the van around the parking lot, turned around, and they had vanished. There's one road in and one road out, and he kept saying, were you in the cemetery? And I said, no. Oh, you were in the cemetery. Were you in the asylum? And I just spent the night in the asylum. And I said, no. He goes, oh, I saw you in the asylum. Holy shit. And Jeff knew it from the get-go.
Yeah.
The funny thing is Jeff knew this, and Sarah Thomas was the one lady's name because she told us her name. And then about 2 weeks later, we were back down there, and we're going to the second part of the asylum cemetery, and there's her damn headstone of the lady that said her name was Sarah Thomas.
Man,
it was
that's like the movie.
it was
The
strange.
Others.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
To this day, I think that was 19. I don't know, 90. I don't even know what year it was.
Let me ask you this: do you think in all of your years of work that you have ever encountered a demonic entity? Because I mean, demons are popular and they're on.
Well, let's not mistake.
That's how you sell a YouTube video.
Yeah,
Demon
but let's
caught
not
on
mistake
tape.
this. Listen, my firm belief is what you are in life is probably what you are in the afterlife. So
Right.
if you're a good person, you feed the homeless, you help at the church, you help fit. That's probably the entity you are when you pass away. Now, if you're a bully and you are domestic violence, or you rape women, or you rob the store, and you don't care about anybody but yourself, that's probably what you are in the afterlife. That being said, you are what you are, and a lot of people mistake a bully or a negative
For a
entity
demon.
as a demon. It's so hard to convince people that it's not demonic.
But you personally know
because
the
it
difference.
does look demonic.
But you know the difference between the two.
Well, demonic was never. It's not a dead person. It's not the soul of a person that was once alive.
It was non.
It's an energy that was. It's kind of like a poltergeist. It's nothing but an energy, and a demon is there to kill you. It's there to ruin your life, to take your soul, to wreak as much havoc on you as it possibly can. And there's 5 stages of that. There's and I don't.
Let's not go into the 5.
We won't.
But anyway, let me ask you this:
depression, possession, and
so
on.
So let's. I guess I'm gathering that you've never encountered a demon. But let me ask you this: you had a
Listen,
case.
some of us can investigate every weekend. We're never going to see a demonic.
Right. No, we probably won't, which is good. Because anyway, but so the Door Street case.
Poltergeist.
but that was,
Negative.
and there was definitely like, in the, I don't want to tell that story because the end of the story kind of like, was that close to demonic with the book that was shown?
It sure seemed that way.
So tell me about that. How'd you get called in on that one?
Well, we got a call from a nice lady, and her name was Rosa, and she was raising 3 grandchildren in the house, and her daughter was still living there.
This is a scary ass story.
It's very scary. Once we went in there, listen, the ceilings were leaking, and it's hard to explain. That was my very first. Anybody ever hear when you walk through like a spider web?
Yeah.
Well, this was like a full body. I was in the cellar, and I walked through this thing that seemed so real at the time. Listen, there's so many things about this case that, so to this day, I think back and I wonder. It takes my breath away, kind of like my cigarettes do.
Yeah.
But I can remember being there in a night with Butch. And Butch, let me tell you, Butch is older now, but Butch was the bravest
He was a
paranormal
man
guy.
of steel.
Listen, nothing would rattle him. Nothing. And listen, he could have coffee in the morning with Lucifer and be almost comfortable with it. And I'd
Be
be
like, man, that devil's not that bad.
I'm like trembling, If you ever want to trust your life with somebody, it would be Butch. So we're in this house, and the claims of the paranormal are horrific. And I can't make heads or tails if it's poltergeist, if it's demonic, if it's just a regular entity. I can't make heads or tails of it.
Well, let's be honest. At one point, you told me that like this is a case where a refrigerator was.
Let me backtrack a little bit. First time in there, Butch and I are up on the second floor. We hear this loud crash down on the first floor that we just went through. You come down, and the couch is standing in the middle of the room on end with the TV on the end of the couch.
Right.
Now, listen, the first thing you're going to ask yourself, how in the hell, I almost said the F word, how in the hell is this possible?
Yep.
It's not. I mean,
Right.
is there any, listen, there is no explanation for that. I can only tell you is what happened. I don't have any reasoning for it. There's no reasoning for these. Sometimes when you're dealing with the paranormal, there's no reasoning. There's no explanation. You can only document the facts of what you either seen, heard, or witnessed.
Right.
So the couch is up on end. The TV's up on the end of the couch. And I'm looking at Butch, and I'm thinking, let's get the hell out of here.
Yep.
And Butch is saying, we got to go back upstairs because this TV come flying down the stairs. We got to check this out. And what caused the TV to fly down the stairs? And I'm thinking, shit's got wings. We need to get out of here.
Yep.
And listen, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was petrified.
Well, yeah, that's not like.
So, and
We're
one
laughing now, but that's not
it
funny.
wasn't
Like
funny
when
at
a
the time,
fucking
no.
TV's standing
And
up on
one
its
time
head.
we hear this horrible crash out of the kitchen, and I think we're upstairs that time too, or maybe down the cellar. I can't remember. We come up, the refrigerator's laying on its side, the door's open, the refrigerator's in the middle of the kitchen floor, and the food is stirred across the kitchen, and I'm like, my eyes are rolling in the back of my head, Jeff.
Yep.
And Butch is saying, this and that and the other, and Butch and I disagree on some things, and I thought it was time to get the hell out of there. But listen, this story takes a serious twist. One time paint was thrown all over the house. So many things happened
The
in this house.
toaster's in the dryer.
Yeah, that was
Like-
Mr. Williams. It linked to the house next door with Rose's parents. Listen, her 32-year-old daughter, who I talked to the night before, was up at 4:30 in the morning. She was on her knees in the living room praying. At 6:30 in the morning, she was dead. What they call natural causes. We can call as natural as you want. I know better.
Yeah.
I mean, I know better. But things were being moved around the house, and Butch found books of the dead in the house. And and to wrap it up, we finally got a call from Mr. Williams. I don't want to say the name. I should say the name. Rose's father, who lived next door.
Right.
And this was the most eerie sit-down conversation. Yous don't know as much as you think yous knows. Sits down there, young mans. I's got a stories to tell you. And I'm like trembling in my shoes, like, what the hell? This 90-something-year-old man is now coming out of the woodwork. I've been here a dozen times. I can't make heads or tails. And we called in the Baptist minister.
I think I've
Patricia
seen
did a
videos
Black
like
Bear reading.
he was there with all your interviews and all that stuff.
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah, he
he?
said it a lot.
But he
He
sat
never-
there. He
he
never said
never-
a freaking
never-
word.
No, and he says to me, he says, I gets up at 5:30 every mornings, not 5:35s, not 5:25s, 5:30. And the missus gets up, and she's like in her 90s too, and they were from Africa.
Yeah.
He said, well, this mornings, the reasons I'm talking to you is you pissed them off. Obviously, with my investigating, trying to get to the
Right,
bottom of it, he says, this morning as I get up at 5:30, I goes downstairs like I has been for 20 years. I shouldn't be laughing.
No.
He says,
scary shit.
I puts my toast in the toasters. I puts my coffees on, and then I goes and takes a leak. Been that ways every day for as long as I was remembered. He's like 90 years old.
Mhm.
And I'm just trying to listen and make sure my recorders are recording while I'm filming this. And he says, this morning, I goes in to take a leak. And I comes back, and my coffee pot's gone. And I hears this horrible banging coming out of the cellar. So I makes my ways down the cellar. His toaster was in the fucking dryer. Whoop, I said that word.
Freaking dryer.
The toaster was in the dryer.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know whether to
Believe
get,
him. Or,
I'm like in shock.
Yeah.
I'm, you listen, you could do this thing, you could do this paranormal thing for 100 years,
Yep.
and some stuff's just going to shock you. And he says, and I'm like, I'm trying to intervene. I'm trying to get a word in. He says, young man, you've got to listen to me. He says, it's more than that. He says, I gets my toasters out of the dryer, and I comes back upstairs, and my coffee pot's gone. That's what the hell happened to the coffee pot? It's downstairs in the washing machine. He says he got up every morning, talked to him,
Yep.
bargained with them, made a deal with them.
Didn't he break out the book at that point?
I don't really remember if he
I
showed me the
thought
book.
You told me that.
Maybe
he said-
Butch confronted him at that time about
Yeah,
the
it was
book.
kind of like, this is, I have breakfast with these people.
Yeah, he
And he had a book of the
he
dead.
had
and it was-
he sat with them every
Right.
morning, and I'm not sure what these people or these things were to this day.
Yep.
You listen, that case is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. All joking aside, that's just one of those cases that you can't solve. You can't get to the bottom of. You're not going to cleanse
Well,
the house
didn't he tell
if
you
he's going to
too?
continue
Yeah,
to
didn't he
make
tell
friends
you
with
too?
them.
He had no intention of
No,
stopping. So
no.
at that point, it's case closed. I mean,
They
there's nothing we
basically-
can do.
Basically, and I think Becky came to the end of that case.
Yeah.
I walked out of that case knowing that there was nothing more that I could do. I prayed for the family. It's so much so that I think the one grandson of Rose's, and I don't want to see his name either, was semi-possessed because I had filmed him throwing something from the kitchen
Right.
to the living room one night and then calling me in a panic saying, Harold, did you hear that? So I think he was kind of like maybe, I don't want to say semi-possessed, but they were being influenced by these.
Yeah.
But these entities were real. Listen,
But didn't you say it too? That like, so you could, some of the things that happened there, you could associate with that kid doing that.
oh yeah,
But-
one night. Listen, I've been
'Cause
there.
you got pissed
I've
off,
been
didn't
there
you?
a dozen times. On like the fourth visit, I called the family meeting and I
Yeah.
said, "This is bullshit. I'm out of here. How dare you? I've worked my ass
Right.
off in this house. Butch is aged 10 years doing this. Poor Rosa had begged us to stay and begged us that her grandson was being influenced, that he wasn't the culprit. And listen, there's no way that her grandson could have
I
put
was just
couch
gonna
on
say
end.
that. There's
with
no
the
way a
TV
kid
on
did that.
end.
Yep.
There's no way he flung that kitchen refrigerator across that kitchen
Yep.
floor. And there were some, police officer was murdered in the living room of that house. Some bad things happened.
That's
in
almost
that
like similar to The Conjuring 2, where
house. Yeah.
the kid, they caught the kid doing something, so everybody bailed on the case. But it turns out that
Yeah.
the kid didn't do it all. You know what I'm saying? So,
Ghost hunting's fun. Sometimes paranormal event, no place for a nervous person.
no.
And we've had, a dozen cases like that where that you're either, they're going to continue on for the rest of our lives,
Yeah.
or they're going to haunt you for the rest of their lives, or, ghost. Listen, it's Halloween. Ghost hunting it's fun. I'd rather ghost hunt every day.
Let's
of the
talk about a fun one real quick before we wrap this up. We've been an hour, so let's do one more.
week. We've been an
I
hour.
gotta hear.
I gotta get off.
No
here.
bullshit.
I gotta be done.
Nope. I gotta hear Resurrection Cemetery.
Yep.
What is
Okay.
the?
You have to do
You
that.
had the scariest
I love that.
encounter of your life there.
Listen, if anybody's ever heard the story, you guys ever heard?
First
the
of
story
all, what's the
Resur-
legend?
Okay, if you guys heard Resurrection Mary, okay, right outside of Chicago. Geez, I can't remember the name of the town. Dana, will you Google the town right outside of Chicago?
I can't- oh, here.
Or Becky, somebody Google
I
it
can.
because the town's kind of important. Anyways, right outside of Chicago, there was a dance hall, and I think this was in the 30s. And this is Resurrection Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a little town right outside of Chicago. There's a big cemetery. It's a huge cemetery. It's called Resurrection Cemetery.
Keep
And, that-
talking.
and that's why her name. Where are you going? Why am I talking
I
alone?
have to do what I do.
I'm
Like,
going to tell a funny story. We're going to
Tell
sit
it to
here.
them, for
We're going to have a
Christ's
moment of silence now.
We're
Drink.
listening.
drink one for your homies. They're listening.
Just being- Jesus, Jeff's setting everything on fire. Wait, hang on. I need to. Resurrection Cemetery. Resurrection Mary. There's a little town right outside of Chicago. And there's a dance hall that's attached right down the road from the cemetery. Anyways, apparently in the 1930s, a woman had died and she was buried in Resurrection Cemetery, but she's seen at this dance hall all the time. I think if you Google this, you'll see that I'm right. There's been taxi cab drivers that pick up this woman hitchhiking in the white dress. And
Wait,
it's
didn't
on
she
Archer
get
Avenue.
killed on the
Hang
road
on.
by
Hang on. It's on
somebody?
Archer Avenue. But I don't know the little town that it's called. It's like Toledo to Sylvania. It's just hop, skip, and a jump. It's definitely on Archer Avenue. So, anyways,
Justice, Illinois.
Justice, that's the name of it. It's on Archer Avenue. Am I right? Girls, am I right? Archer Avenue?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
it is.
So a lot of people would be driving down there. A lady in white would be hitchhiking, wants a ride home, and they would take them, the driver, to the Resurrection Cemetery on Archer Avenue, and she would get out of the car. Okay, this one particular case where I know this guy that picked her up at the dance hall because she used to dance. And I don't know if she's a prostitute or any of that, but used to have dime dances where you could dance with somebody for a dime or whatever. Anyways, I think they even kissed. Went to take her home, and he took her home to this house and dropped her off, which is right past the cemetery, and waited for a call. He didn't hear from her. Stopped at the house, had enough guts to stop by the house. A week or so later, a lady answered the door. It was Resurrection Mary's mother. Said Mary had passed away. It couldn't have happened. All kinds of claims of paranormal. So, being a paranormal investigator, that was one of the stories I had to do. What do you got to say?
Would you like to know the backstory on Mary?
Yeah,
Kim just said it was Justice, Illinois.
yeah, that's
That's what I said, Justice.
Okay.
The story goes that she spent the evening dancing with a boyfriend at the O. Henry Ballroom. At some point,
Yes.
they got into an argument. Mary stormed out. She left the ballroom, started walking up Archer Avenue. She had not gotten very far when she was struck and killed by a hit-and-run driver
Right,
who fled the scene, leaving her to die.
right.
There are 30 documented that are supposed to be like the most believable,
Yeah.
Where people have picked up
reports.
Mary hitchhiking
and
and
she's
took her
never-
back to cemetery.
starting in the 1930s
Right,
and
back.
up until
Okay, so
whenever.
pretty much I was right. That's a pretty good memory for all those years ago. Anyway, so I made my way to Resurrection Cemetery.
So time out. You need to tell, because this is part of the funny part of the story.
I'm telling a ghost story. It's not
So
funny.
So why were you in Chicago when you decided to go to the rest?
My son had a hockey tournament. Listen, it was
It was intermission. You
it
had
was
20
three-
minutes
it
to
was
get
three
there.
big games. I told him I was going for popcorn. Boom.
Or coffee.
Right. Boom. I left the arena and I found myself lost. Anyways, you know what's amazing that weekend? In Chicago, they have a state park. And I was going through the state park and a great big gray white wolf ran right in front of my car. And I stopped at the carryout to get soda pop or something later on. And I told him what I saw. The guy acted like it was no big deal. He goes, well, yeah, there's all kinds of wolves in
Like a
Chicago.
werewolf.
He said, there's no wolves in Chicago. What are you doing here? I said, well, I'm in a hockey tournament. Who you play? We were playing the Chicago Wolves. Then it hit me. Oh, wait a minute. It makes sense now. So, anyways, listen. So, this one, I had a free moment. Okay.
So you went to go pee.
Yeah. So I head up to the dance hall, which is now, I think, a bar now. There's another bar right across from the cemetery, too, where Mary is also seen. A nice little pub. So, anyways, I go into the cemetery and check it out. And well, that's not true. I go back there at night after the last game was over, and I tell everybody I gotta go for a ride. I'll be back in a minute. So we make our way up there, and I go in the cemetery. And Jeff, listen, this place is just creepy. I mean, listen, all you guys,
Cemetery at night.
listen. First of all, let me say something. Don't ever go in the cemetery after dark. It's illegal. But back in them days, you know, okay, I trespassed.
It was frowned upon.
Yes, it's frowned upon. I shouldn't have been in there. But I couldn't help myself. It's Chicago, it's Resurrection.
Yeah.
Great story. I just
National
told
story.
you. Listen, the girls just explained to you the story about hitchhiking and all that. You know, who doesn't like a story about murder, mysteries, and all that? So I find myself in the cemetery, right? And I got this static night vision camera, which is amazing to me because I take it on all my hockey tournament trips, anyways. And I got a camera, and I got a
very
recorder.
important for
Yeah, I got
hockey
my own
viewing.
little case, a little, Ghostbuster case. So I'm sitting behind this headstone, right?
REM pods detect
Red Pod
goals,
Murder.
right?
Listen, I can't see my hand in front of my face. It's dark out here. So listen, I hear, and it's it's hockey season, so it's obviously fall.
Yeah.
There's leaves everywhere. So I'm sitting by this headstone, and I see these glowing eyes rise above the headstones. What are you laughing about? This is scary shit.
Yeah, it is.
So listen, I hear the rustling of the leaves as the wind picks up, and I hear footsteps all around me. Listen, I'm a seasoned paranormal investigator. Even Einstein's whining. It's scary. So my heart's racing. I'm scared to death, and I'm thinking I should be back at the hotel drinking a lot of beer with the parents, the kids. Here I am in the freaking cemetery, in October all by myself. What the hell am I thinking I'm doing here? These eyes kept getting closer and closer. And I can hear the footsteps all around me now. And my heart's racing, and I really thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to get out of here alive. So I cuddle up, and I'm actually shouldn't tell you this because I'm usually you can ask Butch. I'm brave. I'm the bravest guy.
I've heard you tell the story.
I'm very
You're
brave.
pretty goddamn scared.
I'm fucking brave. I'm telling you. Listen. I don't scare easy.
No, you
So,
don't. But
no.
you were scared.
I move around to the other side of the headstone. That way I don't have to see the eyes anymore.
Taking cover.
So listen, I'm sitting there. I got my camera rolling. The standing night vision cameras from those many years ago. They're shit. You see about 6 foot in front of you. So listen, but the footsteps are getting closer. And now I look out of the lens of the camera, and I can actually see the fucking eyes. And I'm like, what the hell? So I'm turtled in front of the headstone, and I begin to pray as the footsteps get closer and the eyes get closer. And then at the last minute, I look up, and there's it's on the bed again. It's the second time, and there's Bambi. There's Bambi. It's a deer. Yeah,
Right.
I look up, and there's deer everywhere.
So you're thinking that you're surrounded by
Demons. No, demons. I mean, Resurrection Mary sucked 17 demons on me. They're going to get even. You want to miss a hockey game? Here's Lucifer.
That's
I mean, we're going to cast this upon you. So I went back the next day, and I don't understand how anybody can tell investigating Resurrection Cemetery. I don't know, everybody's full of shit.
Yeah.
I went back there the next day. I should have brought a basket of apples with me because there was no less than 200 deer.
And they all come right up to you.
They come right up to you. They're friendly. They're licking me. And
Because the guy before had apples.
this stupid. I spent the night in Resurrection Cemetery with 13 ghosts. You ever seen that show?
Yeah.
I had 13 of the scariest ghosts, demons you could ever exist.
Yep.
And it was freaking Bambi. Anyways, I was wrong. I've been wrong. I've been known to be wrong. But there I'm turtled in front of the headstone. God forgive me.
Yeah.
I'll never leave a hockey
Saying their Hail
tournament
Marys,
again.
all that shit.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know you should never investigate alone. Butch has taught me that. What am I doing
never
out
break
here?
into
I'm
another
out here.
cemetery. I mean,
I'm out here in what town? Justice
Justice.
Chicago. Nobody knows I'm here. There's wolves. And there's demons.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's freaking Bambi. Yeah. They hadn't fed him.
The
Yeah.
first,
Listen,
I got-
I'm turning up against the head, so they just come up to make sure I was all right. They figured probably the deer, but who's this grown man out there crying like a little schoolgirl? You know, but maybe we should go up and coddle him a little bit, say hello to this guy, make sure he's okay.
the first time,
Yeah,
the
felt
first
like a
time
fool.
you told us that story, we were out on an investigation.
But it's a true story.
No, I know, but like, I knew the ending. That's why I was laughing.
Oh,
But the first time you told that story to me, man, I was just like, what the fuck? He's going to die here in this.
Oh, I was gonna die.
What?
It's the response we all have.
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
you saying?
I was, seriously. We were on the edge of our seats for like a.
Scared the hell out of me, and then you make me laugh at the
Yeah,
end.
that's a Harold
Yeah.
Ghost story.
Listen,
Yeah, but
I'm
that's
telling
all
you
it
guys.
is.
Listen, I'm telling you guys. I was turtled against this headstone. I could not see my hand in front of my face. I'm looking through a little. At that time, there weren't any 3-inch screens or 2-inch screens. I'm trying to find Lucifer and all this
And your
disciples
eyesight sucks
all
to
within
begin
2
with.
inches. Yeah, you know, and I'm praying the whole time. I'm crying. I'm trying to wipe the tears from my eyes. And I'm listen. I'm begging for forgiveness. I know the rules. You never investigate alone. Listen, it all
Signing 101.
it came full circle within 10 minutes, sitting in Resurrection Cemetery in front of a headstone that wasn't even I never even found her headstone. I had the next day I went there and
Hell no,
I
because
asked
you
them,
shit your
yeah.
pants and you got out.
yeah, and a deer walks up to me and gives me a lick on the head. I was like, holy shit, man. Yeah, there's Lucifer.
No, but like I said, the first
Are
time
we done or no?
No, the first time I heard that story, like I didn't know the ending, and the way you told it, man, I seriously thought you died in the end, even though you're
I
sitting
thought I
there
was
telling
going
me
to
the
die.
story.
What are you talking about?
And at the
So
end, you're
this day
like,
I thought I was
it
going
was
to
a
die.
goddamn deer, and I was like, oh my god, you
That wasn't deer. It was 50
scared me,
deer.
right?
It was 50 deer. It was like a deer farm. They were the friendliest deer ever. Listen, you and I could go right now. and
There's
go to
pictures
Resurrection
of that
Cemetery.
place right now.
Yeah, I
with
got
deer
pictures.
coming
I
up
went
to
back the
people
next
and
day and
shit.
it was like I was at a deer farm.
Yep.
I took hundreds of pictures of hundreds of deer the next day.
I
I should-
never forget the first time I heard that story. There was 4 of us like on
Yep.
edge, listening
I don't
to
even remember I told it.
Oh, yeah,
it was
dude, I was sitting on the edge of the
Carmen
cooler,
and
like-
myself here at the hotel in North Ridgeville. And the 4 of us are like on edge, and every time you told that story, we were like, it just took a totally different turn than what we expected. And all of us were like on edge, and then you tell, I mean, at the end, we saw it was like, seriously, deer.
Yeah, it was all deer.
It was like it was a good story. It was a half an hour.
I've never seen such friendlier deer in my
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: how can anybody really investigate that cemetery? There's no.
Yeah.
But they'll talk about all these footsteps and all these
Yep.
eyes going. No shit.
It sounds like what you read on the internet. It sounds like an urban legend, but there's probably truth to it.
Well, I think a lot of the better stories, they drop her off at the gates at the cemetery.
Yeah.
I think most of the ghost stories come from she's hitchhiking down Archer Avenue
Right.
to the cemetery.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to take it one step further. I'm going to go find her burial site, and going to
And
spend
meet her
the evening
before
with her.
she heads out for the night.
Listen, I couldn't wait to get back to the hockey game. Could you imagine when I got back to the hockey game? Hey, hell of a hockey game, eh, guys? What's the score? Act like,
Oh god damn them tacos.
yeah, act like none of it ever happened. What the hell? All right, are we done? Or you want?
Suppose maybe somebody left that bar and was drunk driving, or maybe even did it on purpose. Maybe somebody she wouldn't dance with. There.
Well, Beck, you got to remember, right down Archer Avenue from the cemetery. There's an old pub across the street that everybody used to frequent, but as everybody knows, dime dances were huge in the 20s and 30s. This is the roaring 20s. About a mile and a half down the road from on Archer Avenue, down from the cemetery, was one of those dance clubs.
Yeah, only
Right, O'Henry's one thing was, and a lot of these, and Mary was a known dancer. Some people call her prostitute. I don't want to say that I don't want to say prostitute, but she was a known dancer to this club on the weekends.
You got paid a dime a dance.
Right, she
That's
lives,
not the
yeah.
same as stripping.
And of course, guys
It's
still try.
burlesque dancing.
But, you
Yeah,
know,
and guys tried to pick. Yeah, the guys tried to pick you up.
Run you off the road.
Right.
Well,
If you said no.
out
Yep.
there in the dark
So-
zone.
All right, is that the end of this ghost stories or what?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know how long we've been on. Yeah, John.
Have you ever heard of LOF on East Broadway being haunted?
Yeah,
Yeah, I seen him.
you see what?
I seen the old guy.
Oh, here I'm gonna have John sit here while I go bathroom. Can we tell the story?
Yep.
This is John Dini's boy. Come on, sit down. Come and sit down.
Yep, we're sharing goes. It's a Halloween
It's
party.
a Halloween party. We're gonna bore the hell out of
Halloween
everybody.
extravaganza.
All right, guys, I'm gone. John's here.
He's gonna tell a story. I'm gonna mix it. I gotta get some ice. Go ahead, sit right in there. See yourself on camera. Say hi to everybody.
This is the
Einstein is he wants some FaceTime too. Good
He's
boy.
just like his sister.
Yep. Yeah. Boo always has to get in on the camera too.
Well, it's interesting that he knows about that because I used to drive a forklift
Okay.
at a factory. I don't want to say the name. I got
Was it the one
Snap-on.
that you just
I'm
said?
a walking billboard anyway. But anyway,
Was it what you just said?
yeah.
Okay. My grandpa used to work there.
Oh, LOF.
Yep.
Okay.
In Rossford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wallbridge, somewhere like that.
It's
East Broadway.
yep.
Well,
Yep.
there's a factory, a tubing factory.
He worked in the glass.
Yeah.
And he took me on a tour there. This is a funny little short story. Then you can get to your serious ghost story. But like, he took me on a tour there one day when I was a little kid, and he pointed out the piles of cardboard that were 30 feet in the air, and they would like. He's like, and that's where I take my naps. It's hilarious.
Good spot.
Yep.
Well, I think my
Thank you.
my friends were talking about we were using LOF for a warehouse to store tubing and stuff,
Okay.
and they were saying, "Oh, we seen this ghost, this old guy," and I'm kind of skeptical.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I'm there by myself, waiting for a truck to show up to load, and then I'm in the receiving office. It's just a little small office. I got my feet kicked up, and I look up, and there's this old guy, gray hair, looking at me through the window.
Yeah.
And I'm going, that must be the truck driver. So I get up, walk out, and he's not there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, oh, that's what they've been talking about. So I guess he fell from a height, 30 foot.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, did you ever hear stories of who they
Yeah.
thought it might be? Okay.
He was a worker and he fell and to his death, and I guess he just hangs out there.
I mean, that's an old plant. I mean, that's
It
pretty
is.
common. Like, paranormal stories are. There's a lot of death back in the day, work related death.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so a lot of these old factories, like the Sloth Furnace, is a popular, like industrial site that, like, I mean, it happened a lot, and sometimes it didn't go reported. So,
Well, that's all I had.
so you didn't like.
Oh, I freaked out for sure.
Okay, so you didn't go up and introduce yourself or anything cool like that. Didn't go say, "Hey, my name."
I didn't have a chance. He was
Yeah,
gone.
that's
We're
cool.
like, oh,
Yep, yep.
that's the guy.
We had a friend of mine. He owns a fireplace store. It's his name is Tim Teague. Actually, Dave is the owner now, Dave Roberts, and it's Country Hearth on Reynolds, or it's on Door Street by Reynolds. So Tim goes there one day to unlock the shop, and so he's going up to the door, like he does every day, and there's a boy inside looking out the window at him. He's like, "What? How did a little kid get locked in my store overnight?" So he's freaking out. He's trying to get the door open real quick. He opens the door and he sees the kid run in the back and turn. So, he follows him. He's like, "Why is this kid in my shop?" He goes back to, and then there's a like an old pastor looking guy with like a pilgrim type hat. Like that's what he described it as. And then they both disappeared. He's
That's
like,
old
"What the?" So it turns out though that like the property that his shop is on, there was a church on the corner of Door and Reynolds. Well, what back in the 1800s, what was always alongside of a church? Cemetery. Always, right?
Right.
So they're thinking the cemetery was on the property that their shop is on, and blah blah blah. Maybe that was, I forget what they named it something. I don't, they don't have any basis for the name, but they called this spirit something. This spirit will, they'll tell a customer, "Yeah, we just sold the last one 5 minutes ago." And then, so they're like, "Well, let's look around. Maybe we got some buried in a drawer." And on the shelf where they just sold the one, there's a part that people need. So it's like it's a helpful spirit.
Oh, wow.
But there's another guy there that had a welding shop in the back that he was borrowing their space. And he went running out one day. He's like, "Dude, I'm not working here no more. There's a fucking dude back there. He's got a hat. He's a shadow figure, and I'm not going back there no more." So I mean, it's it's the craziest places. But that building was there. The original part of the building was the 1800s. So I mean, it's those old work sites. I mean, maybe the guy died there. Maybe he worked there and died. I don't know. Just like that LOF story. Like, who knows? It's crazy. Who else has ghost stories?
Denise. You might.
They're all whispering back there like it's not a Halloween party.
Yeah, I bought a house on Spencer.
Okay, where's that? Is it inside?
By the zoo.
Okay, yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
South and Spencer. I used to work at the an EM. It was Lifestars EM, like right there on the corner, South and Spencer, the cat corner from the bar.
Cat corner
from the bar. That was there, and I used to hate being at that place. Although I do have stories.
But that's an old end of town.
I just remember.
Yeah, because you were at the hospital where
Old
where that priest killed the nun.
Where the nun was killed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
I know, I'm
Get
like,
up
I just
here.
remembered that story. That was do it.
Get up here and tell that story.
Yay.
That's a good story.
And I'll wrap up with winners.
I completely forgot about those.
Are you taking beer and whiskey?
All right.
So
Say
Dana's
first
got
time-
a story related to that
Old
Father
Nurses
Robinson.
Hospital.
Right. Okay.
So when I was an EMT, we used to be we were stationed at the Old Nurses Hospital, so there'd never be anybody in the building overnight except for us and a security guard. We used to have our sleep rooms, our sleep quarters were like right off the where the elevators were. And none of us would ever sleep in those rooms because the elevators, it would sound like somebody getting off the elevator all the time. So none of us, we would all sleep in the day room. So everybody laughed because we all had like 3 couches in the day room so we could all sleep there because nobody would sleep in the bedrooms. So one time when I was there, I was the only female working. So they gave me, they told me where I could go. Why are you doing this?
Just tell your story.
Why I could do where I could go shower because I was working just working a couple long shifts. So I actually would go. I actually went into this room and I locked it. It was one of those slide locks. So I had to lock it from the inside so nobody could get in there. I was the only female there, only one in the bathroom. There was a shelf on this one wall and I went ahead and put like all my stuff on there. And I went in to take my shower. When I came out, all my stuff, and this was before I realized that the nun was killed in this place. And so then when I came out of the shower, all my stuff was moved to the other side of the room. And I'm like, seriously? And I didn't think anything of it. Then another time I went in there and so I was sleeping and I was sleeping with a partner that I don't normally work with. And she said she never wanted to go back there and work because apparently when I was sleeping, there was hair in my face and she literally like swooped at something. She said something just turned around and swooped the hair out of my face. Then we've also like I said, we had our rooms off of the elevators. Literally at night, you would hear people walking down the hallways and carrying on conversations, and there would be nobody there. Like literally nobody there. So
Well, let's be honest. There's a whole show dedicated to haunted hospitals.
yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of death and a lot of bad shit that goes on in a hospital.
Well, and I mean, being
But-
an EMT, I
yeah.
saw quite a
What
bit.
hospitals? We gotta start a show like that.
Yeah.
I think, well,
Well, I mean,
somebody beat us to it.
Yeah. But I mean, I've seen a lot of just crazy stuff, but a lot of people did not like working at that station. Also, I worked at another station. It was in, off of Main Street in Oregon or in East Side. And the old building we were in was an old funeral home. So that place I did not like going to because I always got my covers like pulled off of me. So I constantly, every time I worked there, I would have my covers pulled off of me. So I just didn't like working at that one. But I had no problem working at the hospital because I always felt safe there. And I always felt like something was protecting me when I was there. Because literally before, like when we would leave for a run, it almost felt like there was something that came across you, and then when you left, it kind of went away, and it was like, but it wasn't like a bad thing.
Yeah.
So we think that no. And when I worked at that location, it was I worked in the bad part of town, like a really bad part of town. So it was just really, it was really interesting that we always felt protected when we left. And then when we would come back, I mean, it felt like that protection left us. So
Well, that's common too, is that like,
you know what?
What?
I just saw something. This is the first time we're here as husband and wife.
Oh, geez, we're gonna get mushy on the show.
oh
This
shit.
first time we're as husband and wife, so it's first time I shot.
Switch over to our next show on OnlyFans. Just kidding.
Are we record something? One more
I don't know. We probably should
Yeah.
wrap this up. It's 9:23.
So we'll let Harold come back and finish up.
We're bleeding viewers like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
It's you said you.
Ask them if they want to hear one more ghost story. Are we done?
All right. Do you guys want to hear
They
one
don't,
more
we're
ghost
done.
story? Chime in the comments. If not, we're probably going to wrap it up.
Get them interactive.
All right. Interact
Either they want to hear one or they
right now. Okay, but I guess while we're waiting for interaction, we do have to say seriously though, like this whole show's kind of been it's not been a joke. I mean, it's been fun. This definitely is not how I wanted it to go. I wanted it to be a campfire, and I wanted, blah blah blah, whatever.
We'll have to try that again.
Yep,
but the
we'll
weather
try it
just did not.
sometime.
Maybe
Yep.
in the summertime we'll have to do it when
Yep.
we have less
This
chances
garage
of
on
rain.
fire.
No, that's not.
So we got two
Yeah, we
yeses.
definitely got some yeses. So, but I got to say this:
We'll wrap up
join
one
us
more story.
starting Thursday. This coming Thursday at 7:00, we're going to be serious
Yeah.
again. And we have got the grandson of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and he's totally down for talking about their cases and all that other stuff. So
And the Ghost Office had a
I'm just,
remake.
like-
So
that, like, if there was ever a royal family of paranormal
Yeah.
investigators, like he's part of it, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And he's not in it for show. I've never heard of this guy before. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not.
Donnie J.
I think the son-in-law
Okay.
has kind of gone the Hollywood route, the
Right.
show route, but I think Chris has done the like serious work.
yeah.
And he's, so anyway, I've got a billion questions we're gonna ask that guy.
Yep. And then as I was
We
saying,
got 3 yeses, so you're gonna have to tell us one more.
and
Go
as
ahead.
we are actually the Ghost Office is in the middle of our new remakes because we got some new cool stuff that is added.
We'll
This
always
is-
shift the
this
background
is One of
around.
the things
Yep.
we got. Aren't those cool?
Yep,
We
we
now
got-
have matching ones. So
I see Carmen's on here. Carmen, your picture got hung, and it's in.
and the
it's in the
skeletons are in
camera frame.
there.
Yeah, we
And
won't tell you
Shelley-
what happened to the skeletons.
No, I showed her the picture.
Okay.
And then Shelly's mother's actually the thing
Yep.
you made us. I forgot to take a picture at the wedding of it, but it was at the wedding with us,
Yep.
and it actually is now in the Ghost Office now that the wedding is over. Our
Wherever she
friend
is.
Dave, or well, his family, David
Yeah.
got us these Ghostbuster mugs. My friend,
Ghostbuster tumblers.
those are, and then we actually got coffee mugs with our names and their
Yeah.
like paranormal stuff on them that were personalized for us. And of course, then we got a boo sign too, which is kind of
Yeah,
cool.
we got a lot of cool
We got
stuff.
really cool stuff. All right, so Harold is going to come back up and finish up the stories, and then we will be done for the night. And then next week we'll be.
Yeah, next week we're
Serious
gonna
again?
get back to serious. So
But make sure you share with your friends about us having.
yes,
Our
please,
guest
please
next
share that.
week,
I
I will
want a
be
big showing for that.
We'll be making more posts starting probably tomorrow, since we'll have this out of the way. Actually, not tomorrow because we have a lot of stuff going on tomorrow. But starting Sunday and Monday, we'll start having a lot of promotion. Pretty much, I'll be promoting twice a day. So, all right,
And
so here comes-
follow the Warren Legacy Foundation
Yes.
for paranormal research.
They have
Follow
a-
their page.
they
They've got
got
some really good
cool
stuff there.
on there.
So
all right, so I am going to bring Harold back
All right.
in. Bye.
love you.
Love you. Bye.
What?
Do you want your hat back?
Huh?
Are you busy?
I don't know. My hair's all
All right,
screwed up. Who
girl.
cares? So we got time for one more ghost story. We're again just chilling out. In fact, I don't have my shoes on anymore. Haha.
Hi guys, it's me again. Hey, I want you didn't drink your drink. No, do that.
I will.
I'm not saying nothing.
What is it?
It's yours.
Oh,
We drank out of your bottle while you weren't paying attention.
no, that's fine.
I'm not saying nothing to you, Drake. Happy Halloween. Can I?
It should taste a lot better with Coke.
Carmen, hi. Sue, hello. Fourth time, Harold. What you talk about, Dan?
The story.
Kim?
That's fourth time he's heard it.
Listen, everybody, thank you very much for even hanging in there this long. This is kind of crazy. Hey, I guess I'm going to tell one more story. You guys want to hear a funny one or a scary one?
Let me ask you this though, seriously. Okay, so we've gone over Door Street, Maxwell House.
Well, Door Street wasn't funny. Maxwell was not funny.
What is no? They're not funny at all. What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you as a paranormal investigator, ghost hunter, whatever you want to call it? Like, what is like you wanted to like, man, I shouldn't do this no more. Like, what? I mean, there had to be a
Well,
moment.
there's been
like
a couple of them, but I don't think.
What is? The
I don't
worst?
think we want to talk about those. Let me. Rather than talk about dark, this is supposed to be a fun show. There's been a couple times where I was legitimately afraid for my team. Where I was trying to keep my wits about me, even though I knew I was losing it. Listen, there's been some cases.
Okay, here's the story that I want to hear. Don't tell Windhurst. I want to hear about that cabin.
I don't want to talk about the cabin.
Oh, dude.
No, it's Halloween. Listen.
Yeah, no
Listen,
shit.
let me. I want to tell the winners,
Okay.
but I'll mention the cabin.
Someday we'll talk
Okay,
about the
the
cabin because that's
Okay, the cabin.
that's the scariest story.
We're gonna highlight.
I've
We're
ever
gonna
heard
breeze
from you.
over the cabin, right? But we had one of my investigators.
Do you? Let me ask you this. Can I stop for 1 second?
Yeah.
You don't have to tell it if you don't want to, but do you think that was borderline demonic?
Yes.
Yes. And
Yes,
tell
and here's
why
the thing,
because
but-
of that
But
recording.
now's not a good time. When we're drinking, smoking, and having a good time,
Okay.
it's not a good time. to
It's
talk
another
about
day's
things.
story.
No, but all due respect to you, and I I think the world of you, and I think the world of what you're doing, and I support you 110%. You know I do. You become like family to me. So Let me touch on it. All right, I'm just going to touch on it, and we're going to breeze over it. Sometimes, all kidding aside, sometimes paranormal investigating can last a lifetime. Sometimes your clients become family members, at least lifelong associates of yours.
But this one started out as more of a ghost hunt rather than an
Yeah,
investigation.
this was
helping
where nobody
anybody there.
really believed. And listen, Dr. Ken, who was a great mentor of mine, said, Harold, the place must exist when I denied it and said that I live within a few miles of this place. I had a cabin that was a few miles from this place. And I said the place didn't exist. Okay, not only did the place finally exist, I finally come across it. I had a group of investigators there one night where one of the investigators was speaking in tongue. I learned after the fact, played his recordings. I had them analyzed by Dr. Ken, and his recordings were, once they played the recordings backwards, he had said the Our Father in Spanish backwards 50 times.
That's
Another investigator was out in the field at 4:00 in the morning. Listen, this guy was full of he had a life force to him, full of energy. He was suicidal, full of doom. I got back from the investigation at 4. I ended back up on the property at 6:00 in the morning, and the property, the cabin had imploded, whatever, into the ground. Listen, we were meant to die that night.
Yeah.
And we didn't. And there's been a couple of cases over the years, but how this is not a time to talk about those kind of cases. But listen, if you do this long enough, and Jeff, you've been doing this for a few years yourself now, and you got your wife Dana involved in it, you're going to come across cases that are not funny. They're scary, Jeff. They're scary.
I've had one, where it was like, you know what, this is no bullshit. This is no joke.
Yeah.
We were here starting out for fun.
Right.
This isn't fun no more.
Right.
I've had one
And you're going to have more.
place like that.
You're going to have times where
Yeah.
you feel that some of your group's lives might be in danger.
Exactly.
Their mental health, or their emotional health, or their physical well-being, or their spiritual well-being. And listen, I take great pride, and even Butch can tell you, and Butch has been a leader. Butch is a great father. Butch is the epitome of what a paranormal investigator should be. And I have all respect for him. He gave his life up for mine.
Butch is a good mix. Okay, this is what I see as an outsider looking into you two. Butch is a very good mix of skeptic,
Oh yeah,
but yet he does have a little sensitive side to him.
very little.
But he's very open minded.
Yes, he's an open-minded skeptic.
But when the shit hits the fan,
Butch will be there.
he's the
for
first
it.
mother.
And I've seen been
running
in
in.
cases like on Richards Road where Butch had went down, and I've had the opportunity to say, "Hey, listen, my partner's in trouble. We need some help here." And Michelle was there one night and did a cleansing on him, and we regrouped. But I had searched the premises for him all night. We got some of our best EVPs while I'm roaming the property, and I'm asking Becky and other people, "Where's Butch?" I need to find Butch, and I couldn't find him. And
That Moonville Tunnel video is creepy.
Butch had got freaked out in the Moonville Tunnel. It's going to happen to all of us.
Yeah.
Listen,
But it was almost cinematic. Like he went right up to that camera and was like, but he wasn't Butch.
No, on a serious note, you do this long enough.
Mm-hmm.
You do so many places that Butch and I have done. You're going to encounter some bad, nasty stuff.
Yep.
And listen, the fun is gone. The party's over.
Yep.
Listen, lives are at stake. Emotions are at stake. Spirituality is at stake. I've been blessed and raised as a Catholic and truly blessed that, I feel I have God on my side. And believe me, there's been times when I've needed him.
Yeah.
And more. And Butch the same way.
Yep.
And there's been times where I've needed Butch. And Butch, listen, there's been a couple of times Butch needed me to read and react quickly.
Yep.
But those are for another night.
Yeah.
Those are for another time. This is Halloween. So I'm going to share one with you that's pretty serious. Okay. We got a call back 10 years ago. These are some older cases from 4 college age girls, age from, let's say, 19 to 21.
Yeah.
They all graduated high school. They all decided to move in with each other and run a house in the UT area. I'm just going to tell you, it was on Windhurst Street, Windhurst Avenue. And could you imagine what it's like being a young girl, moving out from your family, from your mom and dad? Your dad is taking care of you. Moving in with, your biggest concerns are how the hell are you going to pay rent?
Yeah.
How you going to budget the groceries?
Yep.
How you going to split the light and the gas bill? There's so many
You
stresses.
transfer from a kid to an adult.
Sure, yeah, it's a big transition. So they're in their first year of college at UT, and lo and behold, they got this pleasant house that they thought was perfect for them. These 4 girls, and a couple of them had boyfriends, I think. And I'm going to take a sip.
Go ahead. It's an old neighborhood too, right?
Sure, it is.
Older houses.
Right, it's not far from UT.
No.
And soon after they moved in, things went south. Things went bad. And I don't want to mention any names, but the one girl laying in bed and this 7-foot shadowy figure standing in her doorway of her bedroom every night. And just, she was absolutely petrified. It got so bad that kitchen cupboard doors were being ripped off the walls. But here's the main focus. There was an attic door. They went off the living room, and the stairway went up to the attic to the second floor. And every night that door would be shaken violently.
Right.
And not as if something was trying to get in, as if something was trying to get out. And the girls would call their parents in the middle of the night, just scared to death. And the one girl's dad come over in the middle of the night, and he had the idea of taking 4-inch duct tape.
Yeah.
And he taped this attic door all the way around the door, and then he double taped it all the way around the door because the door handle was shaking first, and the door would shake just violently.
And it's not like that. It's an actual door.
It's an actual doorway, an old wooden doorway.
Right.
And that night, after he taped the door shut, lo and behold, 3-4 o'clock in the morning, girls heard the door shaking violently. And listen, when they got up in the morning, the bottom line is the duct tape was ripped off the walls, and the door was shoved open, and so many things happened. And the girls were just terrified, and the girls' mothers were beside themselves. And the one mother I'm still very good friends with.
Yeah.
I talked to her on, if you're watching this on Facebook, yes, I'm talking about you, Christine. So we took on the case. Becky was our case manager at the time. She sat down with the 4 girls and talked to them, and we decided to take on this case. Butch was very interested. Butch was always had a habit of taking on anything negative, anything that seemed too heavy for the other local paranormal groups, and Butch would take them on. Like, sometimes we get emails or texts saying, "Can you handle this?" We can't.
Yeah.
And Butch would always say, "Harold, we can." And I would say, "Butch, no, we can't." And Butch would say, "We're going to. This is a family in need. This is 4 young girls. If this was your daughter, Harold, would you do this?"
Yeah.
Well, absolutely, Butch, you're right. So sometimes I'd bite off more than I could chew, and this case might have been one of them. But Butch seemed to be right at home with these. So we went in, and the claims of we went in one day, and the kitchen cupboards were ripped off the wall, and the cupboards are laid in the middle of the floor, and the door is just, you could tell it was broken out of, not in.
Yeah.
I mean, they kicked whatever this was, broke the door out.
Yeah.
The framing was all broke, and they broke out, not in. That's what I don't understand. And we did an investigation, and I'm going to go over this at the library tomorrow. I'm at the Sylvania Downtown Library, and this is one of the cases I'm going to go over. Butch makes a habit of running his recorder when we first arrive on location.
Yep.
Butch is smarter than I. So Butch would turn on his recorder as soon as we walk in the door, because you never know. And lo and behold, Butch is walking upstairs, and he's saying, "I'm going to go upstairs and find out what's up here." And he captures his Class A EVP. Hurry. This thing was waiting. Sometimes they know. I mean, I don't know who's still following.
I think actually,
Lisa,
like we did
Carmen?
an EVP show one night, and I think I actually played that one.
Yeah. Sometimes they know you're coming.
Yep.
And somehow these spirits
can't wait.
No, they knew we were coming.
Yep.
Listen, they told Butch, a seasoned paranormal investigator, balls of steel, to be honest with you guys. And they're telling him, "Hurry, get up in this attic.
Yep.
We can't wait for you." And then right immediately afterwards, it kind of like cackled at him.
That's a
And they were amused by
clear as
Becky as
could be
well.
in the EVPs.
So we captured a bunch of EVPs throughout this house. We investigated, and Becky, we're in the attic. You can't come in. You guys, listen, if anybody's listening, you know how rare it is to get an EVP that's got 1 or 2 words?
Yeah.
This is like 12 words. Becky, we're in the attic. You can't come in. And then this entity turned around and scolded the students. "You stupid students."
Yep.
All in one EVP. As long as EVP I've ever captured, my and Becky's obviously brave too. I mean, she's right. I'm the only one. I'm famous for going for coffee or blowing the smoke. Like when things get Butch, there's something really demonic going on in there. I'm going to run tech for a while. Make sure I got it. Go get it, guys. I mean, all joking aside, listen, these girls were terrified.
Yeah.
They're just petrified. And we're capturing all kinds of EVPs. That was the first time I think we captured a full body apparition on camera. And we
definitely know. Yeah,
we had Fred look at it and dissect it 1,000 ways, turn it into a negative, and it is what it is. Obviously, this thing followed Becky and Butch around the house, and there was burping and, no offense, farting and all kinds of weird stuff this thing was doing throughout the night. And so you're ready to turn it in.
I'm tired.
Too many ghost stories. Unfortunately, these girls, we did a cleansing. I don't know if there's Ouija boards involved.
I was going to say, what was the
Well,
cause of that?
I don't want to make.
I thought you said they admitted.
I don't want to make accusations, especially here on live Facebook. But there were some things going on in the house where maybe they didn't take it as serious enough, and not so much them, but maybe some of their friends weren't as afraid as they were, and probably took some liberties.
Or it could be like a case in the beginning. It's funny. You know what I mean? Oh, let's play a Ouija board. See, but then the shit gets real.
It turned quite real. It turned
Then it
quite
gets real.
dangerous. And the girls eventually all moved out. They broke their lease. I don't know if they were sued. I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
But they broke their lease. I think the parents thought it was best that they move out for their own personal safety. And it was just one of those cases that we never I mean, did we solve it? Yeah, we kind of. I mean,
Well, you
we were
found
able,
out what was
yeah,
there.
Yeah,
Kinda.
were we able to cleanse it? We did a cleansing with it, and it's all seemed to go quiet within a couple weeks. It seemed to be back with somebody practicing Ouija boards or seances. I don't know.
Well,
You're
that's the
dealing
thing
with kids,
too. Like,
but the place was lit up like a Christmas
Yeah.
tree. The girls eventually broke their contract and moved out. I still drive by there to this day. Twice a month, I drive by there and I can't help but look over my shoulder and look at the property, look at the house, and wonder what's going on inside. I'm sure a lot of you paranormal investigators out there do the same thing.
I drive by Maxwell.
Yeah, and I always wonder. I was just at Maxwell a couple days ago,
But
or
I
last
drive
week.
by there every once in a while.
Wondering what the girls are doing today, and
Yeah.
very, very scary, very real.
Yep.
Listen, guys, it's been a fun night. All kidding aside, hauntings are real. They're very rare, but they are real. And
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you guys. Over the years, I've learned hauntings are not fun. Think about. Well, let's
A true
take
one
let's
isn't
take
fun.
Becky's sister Deanie. If she was home alone at night without John, and there's some growling going on, and doors are opening and closing, cupboards are slamming, things are moving about the house, and she's being choked or held down.
Let's not put her into this. Let's be honest. What about your own house? You've had.
Yeah, I worry about this
You've
house.
had some.
Well, the other,
some shit
you
here.
know what? That's a great point to bring. You as a paranormal investigator, you could do cleansings and blessings and sage yourself, but you run the risk of bringing things home with you.
Well, you know Ryan, obviously.
Yeah,
Ryan
obviously.
and Nicole.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
they're
think the world of that.
friends of ours. So, 2 years ago, I think it was Halloween, we were here.
So I'm getting all emotional now.
No, but I never saw Ryan act like he did that one little statue you have up in the ghost office. That tiki one.
Yeah.
He's like, Nicole, get
Let's
like,
wrap
they-
that up and give that to him for Christmas.
Yeah. They started to actually like fight.
Yeah,
He went into like I've never seen that.
Well, I made the mistake of collecting some haunted artifacts, which for good, better, or different. I
do the same dumb
have
shit,
and
though.
I contain them. But listen, all
You
reality,
think you contain
guys.
them.
Happy Halloween to everybody. Happy on it. Be very careful what you do when it comes to
Right.
seances and Ouija boards. That's how this whole thing started with me. Growing up in a haunted house, and then every Friday and every Saturday I would either have a seance or a Ouija board. Becky could tell you that. Inviting entities in. Pretty soon, the house that I grew up in was bought and torn down.
Yep.
It had 17 entities in it at the time. I don't know how many I brought in, but I was a stupid kid.
Didn't you say an old friend reached out to you?
Yeah, Omar.
Recently?
Yeah, hey Omar.
Talking about like when they
tore the
when they
house down.
demolished
Omar
the house.
heard screaming coming from the windows.
Right.
So you listen. It's the witching season. The bail might be closing. I don't know how much you guys do it. Everybody have a great Halloween season. Happy holidays, everybody. Be careful, be safe.
Yes.
And thanks for joining Jeff and Dana on Boo Productions. What is this show called?
Boo Bites on the
Boo Bites.
Paranormal.
Boo. We talked about the paranormal.
Baby
Boo
Blue-
Bites. Say that
Baby-
3 times fast.
Baby blue.
Why do I keep doing this?
Because you're
Wait a
talking to
minute,
your
hang on.
grandkids on FaceTime.
Hi Carter. Hi Holly.
Hello.
Hello. All right. Happy Halloween, everybody.
All right. See ya.
All right. Am I done?
Yep, you can be done. I'm going to wrap this up real quick for 1 second. And like I said again,
Cheers.
join us Thursday. Thursday is seriously, please share the hell out of Thursday's show. I mean that, like I said, we've got like paranormal royalty coming on Thursday. So, Chris, if you watch this show, seriously, we do take paranormal stuff serious. This was obviously a fun show. And we will see you all next week. So here we go with the stupid ending again. Let's do this. We're going to end it this way.